Welcome to another edition of the Meehan Mission Podcast. On today's episode, I'm excited to bring you our special guest. She is an author, she's an advocate, she is a speaker, and she is also an integrative health practitioner. Join us as we talk about her son's diagnosis of autism, plus her journey on healing. She is a guiding light to other parents, and I want to welcome Tracy Slepcevic. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Meehan Mission Podcast. And today I am honored to have Tracy Slepcevic. And Tracy, it is so great to actually meet you because I just want to let everybody know that I found a copy of her book because Jim had a great collection and you actually autographed it for him. So thank you so very much. That just means so much to me. It's in my special pile every year. And I really wanted our audience to get to know Tracy because you are a warrior mom. I mean, I read through your book and actually a couple of girls from the office, our team members read through it and they were like, I cannot wait to hear this podcast because if you would just tell the audience, let's just start on your journey and how you helped your son through his autism and healing. And I'm giving you the microphone, if you would please.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me. So my journey began a long time ago in about 2008 when my son Noah was diagnosed with autism. Okay. And my naturopath on that very same day, so I always say God sent me angels. And if you've read my book, you'll know I talk all about the angels that have come into my life to kind of just direct me because there are so many times where I just felt very lost and didn't have any answers. And I was ready to put my head through a wall. But anyways, Dr. Joshua Burka was one of those doctors, and he's pretty amazing. So his office was adjacent to ours, and I had to go back to the office after Noah's evaluation, and I'm all sappy, and I'm crying, and I see him in the hallway. And he stops me and gives me a hug and asks me what's wrong. And I said, well, Noah has autism. And he just backs up for a second, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he says, Noah's going to be fine. I need you to go home and I need you to do your research because kids are making great strides with biomedical intervention. Now, at the time I was a psychology student, so I didn't know what biomedical intervention was, but I was ready to find out. So there was my fork in the road. I could play woe is me. My kid has autism, or I could suck the tears back up into my eyes and get to work. So I almost ran home. I don't even think I went to the office. I'm not certain. I don't remember. But I literally went home and I became the biggest research junkie. Oh, and all I kept Googling, and back then you could Google this, don't do it today. I just kept Googling healing autism. And I got some great resources. Generation Rescue was an organization back then that was very helpful. DAN, which was Defeat Autism Now, was a conference that they used to hold. And, Autism One was also a conference, and they just recently dissolved their nonprofit. But I was taking notes, I was reading books, I was going to conferences, and immediately I started with gluten-free, dairy-free, and also soy-free. As I learned, it's a very similar, inflammatory protein that we just don't want to take when we're trying to take down inflammation. And from there, I was looking very hard for a DAN doctor that was affordable because I was calling different ones in LA County. And again, I just didn't know what to do because they were charging a fortune. And at the time, my husband, who fights big insurance, wound up on the front page of the LA Times in a smear campaign, and we lost his business. So things weren't so great. But it made for a really good book and a really good story of inspiration that on that very day, I set a clear intention when Dr. Burka told me Noah would be fine. I set a clear intention that Noah would be fine. And nothing or nobody, not the neurologists, not the pediatricians, nobody could tell me that my son wasn't ever going to function.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Just those little words of hope really, that just gave you enough inspiration. I love that other moms need to know that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was just, so I was very clear and I was willing to do whatever it took. Now, you don't always have the parents that want to do whatever it takes. They want shortcuts. They want this, but I'm here to tell you there is no shortcut. As you know, the gut's connected to the brain via the nervous system. And my go-to first is to heal the gut. And so Dr. Burka also assisted me in finding a functional medicine doctor here in Southern California who was DAN certified. There's no such thing as DAN anymore. So they followed a certain protocol to treat those underlying conditions back then. And so she assisted me in getting Noah on a biomedical protocol to heal his gut, his underlying conditions. And, a lot of the pre-genetics like MTHFR, pandas, he was diagnosed with pandas, so high levels of strep, all those different things that plague our autistic community. And so I did whatever she told me to do. Okay, here, take this supplement, here, do this. There are a couple things that I do kind of heed warnings on based on experience. And one is IV chelation. I'm not a pro IV chelation unless, you're an adult and you need to get those heavy metals out of you if you've been exposed to a lot. Okay. But for children, it's like a toxic load dumped into the bloodstream. So there are mild ways to chelate. There's zeolite sprays, as you know, there's suppositories, there's even EDTA, capsules that you can, just a mild chelation. So that's one road that I would never go back down. We did hyperbaric oxygen therapy for Noah. And I heed a warning on that too. If they cannot clear their ears and they are a child, you can damage the eardrums. So Noah had tubes.
And it's very painful.
Yes.
Yeah, very painful.
So he was an ear infection baby. So he had tubes. So I didn't have to worry about Noah clearing his ears. So I could put him in a chamber all day long. And so that showed great benefits. And then there's stem cell therapy. So I'm actually working with some pretty amazing stem cell therapy companies in the U.S.
Good.
Yes. So there's many different things, but when you ask me, what is it that was the first go-to, what was the number one thing that I did, is I will tell parents all day long that I set a clear intention. And where your mind goes, energy flows, and leave the rest up to God. I mean, you have to do the work. It's not easy. You still have to fight those battles with school districts, the state, for services, for this, for that. But I bypassed a lot. A lot of it, I didn't even feel that it was worth wasting my time fighting the regional center to try to get ABA therapy for my son, in which I was like, I could teach him the reward system at home.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you seem like a very intelligent and determined mom, right? I mean, and I think it takes that. And I would think it also, the support from your immediate family and community. Did you find a lot of that support, or since there was no longer really the DAN doctors available, was it like through networking that you were able to, keep going strong and moving forward, or were there setbacks?
So this journey was very much all hands on board with me and my husband. My family lived in Michigan, so there was very little support. And even when my mom moved out with us for a short time, it was really hard for her to control Noah. So she never really assisted me in taking care of him. Nothing against my mom at all. I know she loves her grandchildren, but Noah was a very difficult child back then. And so there, my nephew was a great help to me. Back then he moved in with us to assist us with Noah so I can go back to work because, we had those financial struggles. And I bartered for treatments. I negotiated.
There you go.
I became the best salesperson ever, and I sold everything I owned that I could pick up and put on eBay.
Yeah.
In 2009. So it was, and you know what, I feel that sometimes we get that when it rains, it pours. And people may feel that way, and it's true. But this is when you need to take a step back. You need to look at what's going on and say, what can I learn from this? And how can I move forward?
Yeah.
Because to me, those are your two options. We're here as spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, right? So we're here to experience. So these are all my experiences. So I wouldn't, take back anything. Noah's doing great. Because of his journey, because of my journey, because of the struggles, I've been able to help thousands of families all over the world. And, I continue to do that through my organization, through education, through webinars, through so much, right? And that's priceless. I can't put a price tag on that. And it's never about the money, or I would have never wrote a book, as you know.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us, people assume that we have a lot of money, but they don't understand that, a lot of people don't have a lot of money. So therefore, if you want to serve a lot of people, you really have to, your prices come down and we scrape by. I mean, that's what we do. It's a God thing. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I thank you, God, for getting us through another day, so that we can be a vessel for your healing. Right. And it's just like, and for you, you're right. I mean, what you have learned and what you have gained and the information that you can share with other parents that are going through the same situation, the same bad news, right? Your child has autism. I mean, the best thing to do is to share that experience. And so that, they don't have to take so many wrong turns. They can, learn from a few wrong turns that maybe you took, and then they can, just move forward and find that healing and hope. So.
Oh, absolutely. And the relationships that I built over time, you were talking earlier about the Reawaken America tour. A lot of those relationships came in there. General Flynn is one of my biggest supporters. All autism parents, he kind of just, here, go talk to Tracy. She's the expert.
Yeah.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we have a very close relationship with Bobby and, what he does, and so many others, Dr. Richard Bartlett, who's spoke out, and, so many other doctors, Dr. Jerry Cardsnell, who is one of the original docs. He was Jenny McCarthy's doctor back in the day. So a lot of those, they're either on my advisory board, or I work closely with them in regards to what can we do for these families? How can we benefit these families? I'm working with different companies on research, how can we assist them in funding the research that is benefiting kids with autism? Yeah. Like Dr. Sabine Hazan, who we call the poop doctor, doing fecal transplant, but she's spent millions of her own money, on research and studies and so on and so forth. But really just getting her work out there. Dr. Diane Goodnow, who has made great strides with individuals on the spectrum and other neurodegenerative and neurological disorders, and with plasmalogen supplements. And so there's so much out there. And so I'm that gateway to the information. And that's why I created the nonprofit, because there's two things you cannot make money on typically, unless you're a Harry Potter, and she even had to go through her self-publishing stuff, is one, writing a book. Usually costs money to put it out there, especially in marketing costs, but it was worth every dime. And two, running a conference. So conferences cost money, especially if you want them to be nice conferences. So those things cost money. So the organization was created to help fund scholarships for families who couldn't afford to go to the conference, but also to give them the education they need. So the webinars that we do every month with our experts, the autism walk that we're doing in September for community events, all these different things. And then also the funding the research for autism. So that is what my organization's about. That's what my life's purpose is about. Noah's doing really well. He will be 20 in 2 weeks. And
Oh, happy birthday. That's great.
yes, and he is, he does great. He works full time. He drives. He dropped out of school so he could travel the world. So he's going to London next week. And he goes to Japan next month for 3 weeks. And he just wants to travel. He's like, so I'm like, that's fine, but you have to work and make the money to do so.
Yeah.
So he does. He works very hard. He's a wonderful, human being, which I am truly grateful for. But he's, has he made some poor dietary decisions because he was never fed those things when he was a kid? Yeah. But we're slowly getting back on track. He has a personal trainer. He keeps telling me, Mom, baby steps. And
that's good. Good.
Yeah.
It's hard when they're 20. I mean, because, I was thinking God gives us these little humans to raise. And, you do your best. And then sadly, you have these outside influences that you believe because, Jim and I had 5 kids, all vaccinated, all had issues, whether it was eczema, pneumonia, asthma. Macy didn't speak until after she was 3 years old. And the pediatrician said, oh, that's normal. Well, no, it's not normal. It's common. It might be common that children in your practice have all these ailments, but that is not normal. And so, we had to fight through all that until Jim really finally started, looking into vaccinations because what he thought was safe and effective that he learned in medical school, turns out they're not safe and effective. So we eventually stopped vaccinating the kids and none of our grandkids are vaccinated. I have 7 grandkids. And so there's our study right there, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. And I will tell you, the unvaccinated are far more healthier than the vaccinated. So we've got that. And I know, our youngest, who was the most vaccine injured with gut issues and everything. And, he's probably a lot like your son, Noah, in that, he makes pretty good choices for his health, but you can't control everything once they get so old. So, but it's okay, moms. It's okay, moms. They're going to be fine.
They are. I think the last chapter of the story of my book, I named Let Go and Let God. Because at some point, you just have to let go and leave it in the hands of God for him to watch over, our children.
Yeah.
And, so Noah was vaccine injured. He was vaccine injured by the MMR and varicella vaccine, which technically you're not supposed to receive the varicella with measles. It's on the warning label. But anyways, and he got
the pediatrician doesn't know that. So yeah.
And then he got the measles from the measles vaccine. And by the way, I was told it was a rash.
Did they call it roseola? That's what they called my kid. Yeah.
And as you say, all I heard after that was, this is normal. It's normal.
Yeah. It's not normal.
It's normal. It's normal. It's normal. If I had $1 for every time that woman told me it was normal.
Yeah. The high fevers. Oh, that's normal.
Normal.
Yeah. Give them time.
Had a fever for 2 weeks. Oh my God, that's normal.
It's like
this is the one that takes the cake. Excuse me, Dr. D. I'll just call her Dr. D. I won't call her out on it. My son's regressing. He's losing his motor skills. He's lost all his speech. What is going on? Well, that's normal. They regress and then they progress. And, sometimes it's just normal.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's not normal. No, that's okay because, I will call out, there's a pediatrician in Tulsa, Oklahoma that literally, and you guys could go watch the episode on Vaxxed where one of our doctor friends' baby died under his care after vaccinations. So, I mean, it happens and they are oblivious to it because they don't want to hear it. The pediatricians don't want to hear it. Now, granted, there are some good pediatricians out there that are critical thinkers, and we need more critical thinking pediatricians. But the majority of them are really focused on, whether it's a financial bias or it's just this bias in their own community.
They are the lowest paid doctors on the
Yeah.
totem pole.
Well,
So they depend on kickbacks from big
they
pharma.
do. They do. A pediatricians, their vaccination income can be up to 40% of their revenue. And if you take 40% of a pediatrician's revenue away, that practice will close. There's no way they can still operate minus 40% of their revenue. So when a parent has the objection about a vaccination, you have just struck an arrow in their money bag, and they're not going to listen to it. I mean, and that's, you can have functional medicine pediatricians that are figuring this out. They're figuring it out, and they're like, oh, well, let's focus on just keeping kids healthy. And those pediatricians are going to be fine. They're going to find other ways to create revenue by keeping your children healthy. But people just remember, you can fire your pediatrician. So
you don't need to. Well, baby visits are designed to vaccinate, and that's
exactly.
If you want to just weigh your child and measure them, and you can look up all that stuff on the CDC website in regards to whether they've met their height and weight, or just look at them. I mean, they look underweight, and then it's sad because then we are geared towards going to towards functional medicine, and 80% of the time it's not covered by insurance. And if it is covered by insurance, must have PPO, which PPOs cost a lot of money. And so regardless, I stopped paying for insurance, and then I just pay for the doctor's visit. Yeah,
that's true. You should. And then, I've been doing several podcasts on this. And so 2024 numbers, families, just their premiums in 2024 were about $26,000 for a family. So if you think about, and some of them aren't even going to a doctor. So they're literally just paying money for their premiums. And if you took that $24,000 and just put that, towards real health care, whether it's, exercise and, gym equipment and playground equipment and supplements and organic food and all that. I mean, we really need to change the way people think and the way insurance companies are working. So that's a whole nother podcast. So we can go down on that. But I really
I was paying $28,000 a year for health insurance, and that wasn't even a premium plan. That was like this, the gold level plan.
Yeah. No, I believe that. Yeah. I mean, I understand for catastrophic needs where maybe you need a catastrophic policy.
I have a health share plan. I go through impact health sharing. So I have a health share plan for my whole family. Because Steve and I are older, so it costs $600 for the whole family and would cover 90% if there was a major, emergency, right? Anything. Yeah. And then, once you go through your deductible, whatever, they cover 90%, which to me is not so shabby.
Yeah. Well, and if we just start doing things like focusing on how do we stay healthy, how do we create those healthy lifestyles, then you are going to need less chronic care, less expensive care. And so again, it's just that mindset shift. Which I want to go back quickly because you talked about the Reawaken tour. And, that was one of those, COVID was actually a big blessing because those of us, and I want to consider you, we've been in this battle for medical freedom for, we really started.
The old guard.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was like, when Vaxxed came out, it was really right after Vaxxed came out. So it's almost 10 years ago. That's really what kicked off Jim's speaking out and he was like, this is ridiculous. This is unacceptable the way that we are vaccinating children and not giving them full informed consent. So it's never been, don't vaccinate, even though we choose not to vaccinate. But it's like, you better really do your own research or find a doctor that's going to tell you the risks, benefits, and alternatives and before you vaccinate. But we all talked about it's going to take an adult vaccine before people really wake up to how corrupt the CDC and the pharmaceutical industry is in these vaccines. So when COVID came out, and here's the plug to the High Wire. If you guys were listening to the High Wire, you knew that, this was the big awakening right there. And it really, what it did is it brought everybody together. It brought Tracy together with, Richard Bartlett and, all of these people that were fighting their own little medical freedom issue or speech freedom or whatever it was. And I'm thankful for that, because we are here today, and this is how we get Bobby Kennedy into HHS. And just another little plug for him. For those of you who are impatient, pray for God's patience, because his plan is unfolding. And so you just be patient. It's going to happen. So we've come.
It wasn't built in a day.
No. In the vaccine industry, it's not going to collapse in a day, but it's going to collapse.
And Bobby does have
yeah
people over him to, know.
I know. Yeah. So I just want people to just slow down, slow down, just be patient. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, because how far we've come. So really, Tracy, from your perspective, and, I'm sure you've seen this journey along the healing for autism. What is your hope for the future and for other parents? And I know that I don't think autism is actually going to go away, because there are other things that cause it. But, where do you think we're going? What's the direction?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy that Bobby Kennedy has established that it is an epidemic, and that it is not just genetic. So the chances of you getting something genetic from your parents, be it high blood pressure, heart disease, or this or that, is only 3%, as you probably already know. But it's environmental factors that trigger those pre-genetics that create whatever in our bodies or our brains, for that part. So I feel we are going in the most perfect direction. We're on God's time, right?
Yes.
And Bobby is a wonderful and Christian man, and he's doing whatever it takes. In my experience of him personally, and knowing him personally, is that he cares. He's not, it's definitely not for the money. That's for darn sure. Or the fame, because he's just getting his butt handed to him in the media. So he's doing it for the safety and welfare of our kids. And he's been doing this for a long time. It didn't just start. He created Children's Health Defense. I think that was like 2015. And then has been working with some of the best of the best, Dr. Brian Hooker, Dr. Andrew Wakefield, all those voices, especially Andy. Poor Andy. He was dragged through the mud. His name, his reputation, people wrote awful books about him. The fact that they even took the time or the effort to do so, shame on them. Here was a man who had, again, nothing to gain, everything to lose. And he did, only for the safety of children. And he took a vow, like all doctors do, to do no harm. And he did exactly that. So I honor him and all the doctors who've stood up and protected our children. And stood by their values, and not to like the other day, I had somebody on my sales team, and she's like, "Oh, well, I have a direct connection to somebody in Pfizer, and I could get us a big donation." And I said, "No,
From Pfizer?
I will not sell out." So now I've made it clear to my whole sales team, no pharmaceutical companies. If I have made that clear that
although kind of like taking their money and using it against them.
But to advertise them as somebody who actually gives a hoot about autism.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Or they wouldn't like what you would say about them. So I don't think, they're not thinking.
So no, and she was like kind of cut off guard, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
I know it'd be
Yeah.
like some great commission to you, but I will not compromise my
No, yeah.
values
Yeah.
or the integrity of my organization and everything that we stand for.
Right. No, amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, stay away from that. I was a pharmaceutical rep, and I say it was back in the day, it was a long time ago. And, but, I was there when we started commercials on TV, and, we thought that was so cool because, now everybody's talking about our products, and, oh, slippery slope, look at where it brought us. So I'm hopefully those will end soon. So we'll see. We'll see if America will actually stop advertising pharmaceuticals. But I don't know where that's going to happen. But Tracy, will you tell us? Well, number one, everybody, I highly recommend Warrior Mom. It is a phenomenal book, and not only that, but I mean, I think whether your child has autism or not, I think it's just really just for the education in there. And I mean, and the part about, God is over your child, and it's, you're right. You got to let go, let God on all of those things. And my son is in the military, so you just have to let go and let God and know that it's God's plan. Everything is part of God's plan.
I've been there.
Yes.
My 13 vaccines in one day. I think now it's 17. But what I really like is that they're working so very hard to get religious exemptions back.
Yes.
Yes. So that, I mean, then, and honestly, people, if you're listening and you're pro-vaccine, if you actually knew what was in vaccines, you would not put it in your body. No. Fetal tissue, all these, so many different things. If you actually knew the ingredients in the vaccine, in which they mask, even if you ask for the label, you wouldn't do it. But we do it for the safety of kids. Like this is hard work. Being an advocate, it's all a labor of love. Even hosting a conference or a walk or anything, it's all a labor of love.
It is. So tell us, so your walk is coming up September 6th, right? In Huntington Beach, California.
Huntington Beach Central Park. So it's a hybrid walk. So you can sign up to walk in person, or you can sign up to create your own team, or just walk all by yourself, go take your kids for a little stroll and just support the organization. There'll be prizes for top fundraisers, top teams that fundraise. So the top teams will get free tickets to the conference. The top individual fundraisers will get, I have an autism grandpa he makes custom baseball bats. So he's making a bunch of custom baseball bats, and Bobby Kennedy's signing some of them. General Flynn is signing some of them. So we're super happy about that. So those will be some of the top prizes that we're going to be giving away. And then there'll be a raffle. There'll be fun and games if you're there in person. Every booth will have, an activity or game.
So that's great. And are they going to go autismhealth.com? Is that where they go?
So Autism Health, HEALTH.com.
Okay.
And there'll be a window that pops up for the walk. And in regards to the book, it's warriormom.com. Very easy. So any of those, it's, and then the conference is also through Autism Health. So you can look at the events. You can go, next year's conference, I just signed the contract for it, will be, I think it's the 23rd, 4th, 5th, or 4th, 5th, and 26th, something like that, in San Diego at the Legacy Center. So
what month?
April.
April?
I think it's the 24th and 5th, if I'm correct.
Okay. April of 2026.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah. So a lot of great things going on. You can always sign up for our newsletters too. And I don't totally like spam people on my newsletters. So if they sign up, but sign up for the walk. It's a great way to give back. It's a great way to create community, get people in your community, to walk together, meet in a place, create awareness. If you raise $100, you earn a free t-shirt, or if you just pay the additional $20, you get a t-shirt.
Oh, that's great. I'll make sure to leave those links below in the description too, so people can get a hold of you. Tracy, it has been great. I am so glad that we got this opportunity, and I am looking forward to meeting up with you again. And I want to thank you, and I pray blessings for you and your family and for Noah and his health journey. And just for anybody out there that wants to reach out and find out more information about Tracy, autismhealth.com. Thank you, Tracy. You have a great day.
You as well. Thank you. God bless.